Brandon was supposed to help me with this project, but I don't know where he is. But he better have something good to make up for this. Brandon, where are you?
Hi, Brandon. Good to see
Hey,
you
good
again.
to see
How
ya.
are you? How are you?
I'm doing all right. I don't know where Ray went, but hey, got Kerouac
Hey,
to
you
talk
know
to.
what? That's funny, because, in my new novel, the one that I published after the road is called The Dharma Bums. I really like it. I'm really pretty proud of it, but I call my character Ray Smith.
Huh.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. So, okay, so we're talking about your book, right?
Right.
The book that you read. Now, who was it by?
It was by William Saroyan.
Okay, and tell me a little about him.
Well, he was the son of first-generation Armenian immigrants from the Ottoman Empire. He was born on August 31st, 1908. He lived in Fresno, California, and grew up there. When World War II rolled around, he enlisted in the Army. And he actually did a little bit of writing in the Army. In 1943, he published a human comedy.
Oh, okay.
While still in service. After post-war, he spent a lot of time in Paris in an apartment he rented out, and actually amassed quite a bit of debt, which he eventually paid off through the 60s. Excuse me, through the 60s and 70s, and on May 18th, 1981, he passed away at his home in Fresno.
Oh, that's too bad. Well, I was born on March 12th, 1922, so I'm a little bit younger than your author there. I was born in Massachusetts, my hometown, I love it. And then I moved around for most of my life. I moved out to California, did the San Francisco scene, really dug that, so that was a lot of fun. Hanging out with all my friends. I went, like in my book, I went hiking in the California Sierras. That was a lot of fun. And went to Denver. Then I went back to Massachusetts for a little while for Christmas. And it was a lot of fun. So what is the essential core of your book? What drives your book as far as like theme and character?
Well, there isn't really much of a plot in the book, to be honest. It's really driven by the characters. Everything they do is really what kind of drives things going along. And the plot just kind of takes a back seat to the experience and development of these characters.
That's like mine, because what really makes this whole story is my friends. Without my friends and I use pseudonyms a lot. That's kind of a thing of mine. Like, I'm Ray Smith. My best friend is, Jaffe Ryder, but in real life, his name is Gary Snyder. And can I see your hand? Have you ever looked at your hand? That is such a cool hand, man.
Mr. Kerouac.
Yeah.
Your
Right. Sorry. Oh, okay, my book. Right. So the characters, right? Characters make this so much fun. That's what is my book, and I'm developing as a character through this because I'm seeking enlightenment. But so what is a major theme of your book?
Well, one of the major themes is really the goodness that is in humanity and in society. And actually, Soren writes a quote in the book, and I think I'm going to share it with you.
Okay.
It is, nothing good ever ends. If it did, there would be no people in this world, no life at all, anywhere. And the world is full of people and full of wonderful life.
Okay. I respect that. I can dig that. But I feel a little differently. Like, I write in my book, it's in the very early part, when I'm hiking in the Sierra Nevadas, Matterhorn Peak, I say, rock is space, and space is an illusion. So none of this really matters, but it's great. It doesn't matter, but it's great. You get that, right?
Right.
Yeah, you got it. I can tell by looking in your eyes, you got it. So back on track. So Brandon, why do you feel this novel is important to society as a whole? Why should I have read this?
Well, it really addresses death a lot. As Homer Macaulay, the main character's story, has to to help support his family. His older brother is off fighting in the war, and his father has passed away, so he has to really make money to help support the family. So he gets a job at the post, at the message delivery service for nights, and he has to deliver several death messages, and it really hurts him. But his family helps him get through, and ultimately the Macaulays receive a rather unfortunate notice. But you'll have to read the book to find out what that is. Anyway, throughout the book, it really addresses the theme of death, and so Ryan actually writes, "Death is," or someone says to Homer, "Death is not an easy thing for anyone to understand, least of all a child. But every life shall one day end." So really, he's writing about this theme of death, and it can really relate to everybody. Everyone knows someone who died at some point.
Yeah.
And so it's really something that's addressed, and also it's addressing death in World War II, which was a major turning point in this country's history, and even in the culture, it's deeply ingrained in our culture. People celebrate their ancestors who fought in the war.
Right, and I know I'm part of that generation that grew up out of that. You know, I've spent my life trying to kind of deal with that. You know, and I do that by seeking what I call a bodhisattva. You know, by becoming a bodhisattva, by eventually aspiring to become a Buddha. And that's been quite an experience. But you're going back to death. You know, you said, you know, that the guy's dad died. Excuse me. And, you know, my friend that I call Rosie, she jumped out a window. And I wrote this in my novel too, you know. Oh, son, if I could have just talked to her and convinced her to see what I was seeing, maybe she wouldn't have done that. Maybe I just would have made love to her. And that's why I end that quote. But, you know, it's tough to deal with that, you know, especially when others don't see it quite the same way you do. So, you know, and I think, you know, going on that same point, that my book is important to read because, you know, I'm not just saying this because I'm the author, you know, that sounds so snotty, you know, but it deals with, you know, trying to find your inner peace and how you cope with society and what you do to make yourself fit.
Mm-hmm.
So some pretty heavy themes, you know. So did you like the book?
You know, honestly, I didn't. It's not something I'd recommend. When you describe it, it sounds like this great little story.
Yeah, totally.
But you know, the writing, it just doesn't hold up. The characters are, I mean, all right, but there's really just something about it's difficult to get into, and I couldn't quite get into it, so I just really didn't enjoy the read.
Oh, that's too bad. You know, I hope that everyone enjoys my book, you know. Hope you guys enjoy On the Road later. But, you know, I write it in my simple English so that everyone can understand it and relate to it, you know. But if you ever get around to reading it, I hope you enjoy it. So, you know, I want to thank you for having me here, Brandon.
You know, Ray's going to be really disappointed he couldn't find you.
Well, I'll have to, you know, write him a letter or something sometime, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we'll come out to Denver. We can dig that music scene together in San Francisco. Well, thank you, Brandon. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
You too.
Hope to see you again sometime. Yep.